Hey, Matt, I don't know if you can hear me, but we can't hear you.
Now you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes, fabulous. And I can hear you. So knock it off. Happy Sunday, guys. Good to see everybody. Thanks for joining. Smiles and thank you for that, Anna. This is your practice. You've carved out the time to be here, so see what you need out of this, right? Dial it up, dial it down, settle in, find stillness, fidget your way into whatever feels good. Um, and I've found that if you look up and you're doing something differently than I'm doing and it feels good, just stay there and then do the other side of that, right? So if you have the legs a little bit different or they fall on the left instead of right, don't worry about those kinds of things. Okay. Um, just kind of keep your practice going. Let it feel good. Let your breath fill you up and drop you down towards the floor. First couple minutes, I'm just going to look at the phone and make sure things. Yeah, for some reason, Anna, it sends you a link to your old email address automatically. So every once in a while, that's the delay there. My apologies. Okay, even though it's been a year and a half, it still automatically does that. Okay. So I've got blankets, I've got bolsters, I've got blocks. You can have whatever you want here, but just dropping down and towards the floor and just allowing the weight of the body to do the work. And as always, using this as an opportunity to just kind of check in and see what the day has brought, right? Or the prior few days or the week. Listening to your entire body with your entire body. Right? And the simple task of maybe even just closing your eyes here, you can kind of hear a little bit more, see what's bubbling up to the surface. Nice. And take a long, full, deep inhale through your nose and open mouth exhale and let it go. A couple more times, just like that. Inhale all the way to the top. Exhale, let it go. One more time, inhaling to the top. Exhale, let it go. Let's hold this next one at the top. So draw in that breath. Fill up. Feel yourself expanding in all directions. Maybe sip it a little bit more. And exhale, let that breath go. Nice. Let's take the arms up towards the ceiling, interlace your fingers, and flip your palms away from you. And before we take the hands overhead behind us, bring them behind the back of your head with your elbows out to the sides. Your fingers are just interlaced on the back of the head. We're just going to start with just some simple little massage here. So adjust the positioning of your hands so that the tips of your thumbs are right at the base of your skull. And make it so that you can relax your head as you start to just drag the tips of your thumbs, outlining the base of your skull, right at the occipital lobe, the occiput right there. And maybe you start at center and pull the thumbs away from one another. Maybe you pull it in towards center, some circles. Drawing down. Nice, guys. Beautiful. And then bringing those fingers interlaced to once again support the back of your head. You're going to point your elbows towards the ceiling and then just easily pull your head away from the floor, bringing your chin towards your chest. And turning your head from side to side, just a little bit. Find your range of motion here and Let this be about arm strength, so that muscles in your shoulders and neck are relaxed. And this with this easy rotation, maybe pausing at one side and looking a little bit more deeply to one side. Bringing it back to center and to the other side. And feel free to take it a couple more times. Nice. And then back to center and lay your head back down. Now go ahead and take those hands overhead behind you towards the back of the room, with your palms facing away towards the wall behind you and your toes and heels pointing towards the wall out in front of you. Roll your ankles around, waggle the feet, and wiggle the toes. If you have a bolster or bolsters underneath you like I do, maybe firming your thighs so that your hips lift away from the floor, in which case you can kind of wiggle back and forth from side to side like a fish. And if your hips are grounded, same thing. You're just kind of taking it from side to side, extending through one leg and the other. Take one more inhale here. Land your hips if you did lift them, and bring your knees in towards your chest, whether it's the same time or one at a time. Take interlaced fingers, if they can get there, onto your shins. And if you can't keep them interlaced, you can just hook your hands on your shins or to the backs of the thighs. Maybe crossing one ankle on top of the other, rolling some circles here. Churning, edge to edge, elbows bend and arms straighten. Changing directions with those circles. And changing the cross of your ankles if you did cross. And then go ahead and land your feet on the floor. Heel toe your feet a little bit wider than hips distance apart. Arms to the side in a T shape, palms facing up. Some windshield wipers here. Just letting them fall from one side of the room to the other side of the room. Feel free to start light here and then maybe going a little bit deeper, so long as that feels good to you. By dropping the knees to one side, staying there, reaching through the opposite fingers, maybe the chin falls to the opposite shoulder, extending through the kneecap that's come across the body, breathing into that side. And taking it to the other side if you remain on one side. So again, knees in one direction and reaching through the opposite arm, maybe the chin falling towards that shoulder, reaching through that kneecap. Nice, and then bring it back to center. Beautiful. From here, I want you to bring your knees back in towards your chest. I forgot to do something. One hand on each knee, draw some circles up the ceiling. So knees pulling away from one another and back in towards one another. Can't not have a practice without doing this. So these concentric circles here, with muscles in the legs, at least I like to have them off so that it's just the hands and the arms that are doing the work here and the legs are going along to the right. Change directions if you haven't already. And then we'll keep the legs together and draw one big circle here. You can tip a little bit over to the edge. Take it to the other side. Changing directions. Then go ahead and land your feet on the floor. Heel toe your feet a little bit wider. Actually, we did that. My order's a little messed up. Okay, so with feet grounded, keep your legs together here rather than taking them apart. So the legs are going to stay together. And now, keeping the legs together, drop into these little twists here, side to side. Just let them fall. And you'll feel it move up and down the spine a bit more as they drop from edge to edge. And you can press the top leg into the bottom. But as you keep them together, as if you just had one big giant leg here, you'll feel it open up a little bit more. You roll through the soles of the feet, and then you fall to the outside edge of one foot, and then back through center and to the other side. And you can sandwich, press that top leg into the bottom, get a little bit deeper into that twist, so long as that feels good to you. A few more times, just like that. And bring it all back to center from here. You can either keep your hips grounded or take, if you have that flat gray bolster, place it underneath your hips. I'll tell you. Just an outer hip stretch. Bring that right thigh on top of the left and hug your knees in towards your chest. If your knees come easily in towards your chest and you can clasp your hand and you're not feeling a whole lot here, then remove the bolster. But maybe this just allows you to get that clasp of the hands with a little less effort. Once you do have the legs stacked, you're churning some circles here, waggle the feet, wiggle the toes. Just getting into that outer hip space. Full inhales and exhales. And the real depth will come as you bring the knees in. And if you have the right leg on top, taking it to the back left corner of the room. One more cycle of breath here. Beautiful. And then we'll switch it out, left on top of right. Hug it in, churn some circles, just kind of surprise yourself and find some spaces. Changing directions whenever that feels about right. And again, maybe bringing the knees in and tipping the hips slightly to the right, taking the knees to the right shoulder, the back right corner of the room. One more inhale. And one more exhale. Nice. Unravel your legs, maybe bicycle pedal it out and land your feet on the floor. So if you did use your bolster, you're going to remove it off to the side. Pick up your hips and shift them to the right edge of your mat. So your right hip is lined up with the right edge of your mat. Okay? And then straighten your legs out in front of you. So your legs are going to stay straight, but now you're just going to shuffle your feet over to the left. So your right hip's at the right edge of your mat and you're shuffling your feet to the left. And you should feel that long seam on the right side begin to open up here. Okay. Legs are going to stay straight. You're just going to cross your left ankle on top of your right. Okay. Just the ankles. The legs stay straight. You just cross the ankle on top to pin that side of the body down. Right. So again, you should feel this like guitar string, like tighten it up. You want to add more, arms overhead, reaching behind you. The left hand will hold that right forearm and then take that right arm to the left. So you're in a big parentheses, a big crescent moon shape here. As you breathe into the right side. Full inhales and exhales. Find length in the back of your neck as you extend through the crown of your head. And think of just sending the right side of your body over to the right. Picture a sandbag or a third hand, just kind of pressing your right hip towards the floor. So your hips are grounded, squared towards the ceiling. There's a tendency to roll onto that left hip, so keep that right side. Full inhale. Stay for the exhale. One more inhale here. And one more exhale. Nice. Release whatever you're clasping, uncross your ankles, rebend your knees, and then we'll do that to the other side. So first things first, we're going to just shuffle the hips, the left hip to the left edge of your yoga mat. Straighten your legs out in front of you, and then move your feet to the right. So the left hip stays at the left edge, anchored down, feet move to the right. Cross your right ankle on top of your left without pinning the leg down. Arms overhead behind you, right hand can grab the left forearm and take your hands to the right. So your hands and your feet are pretty much in the same line. And again, you're just the other side of this crescent moon. That left hip pinning towards the floor. Breathe into that left side. Open up the ribs, the space between the ribs and the bottom hip. Another full inhale. Stay for the exhale. One more round of breath here. Beautiful. Release whatever you're clasping, uncross your ankles, rebend your knees, and get your hips back into the middle of the mat. Pause here for a moment and just kind of center yourself again. Do these asymmetrical poses. It's kind of nice to take a few rounds of breath, find symmetry, and then see how left and right are reflecting towards one another. If, a little bit of comparison to see what feels better, what needs a little bit more attention. Okay. From here, either grab a block or your flat bolster if you have one, and you'll bring that in between your knees, ankles, and shins and create a shelf. Okay. So obviously, bolster is going to add some more weight to this one than a block. And it'll require you to squeeze not just your knees, but holding the feet towards one another. Arms in a T shape. And then we'll just take this from side to side. So dropping your knees as close to the floor as you'd like to, bringing it back to center and to the other side. And maybe it's a little, maybe it's just kind of like that 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Or you're getting so close to the floor that you're having to press into your hands for a little bit of support before you bring it back to center and side. A few more times just like that. We'll bring it all back to center. Shuffle your hips to the left a little bit, and now drop your knees over to the right. So using the sort of face of a clock, the crown of your head's pointing towards 12 o'clock. Your knees are now pointing out towards 9 o'clock. Okay. And with the knees stacked, bring that right hand to the outside of your left thigh and straighten your left leg away from it. Your left arm's at 3 o'clock. So the left arm and the left leg are opposite one another as you push that left foot into the wall and reach your fingertips to the opposite wall. You can keep that left leg straight and maybe walk the right hand a little bit closer towards the ankle, or you can bend and straighten the leg if you'd like to. You roll that left ankle around, point, draw it back, breathe. Full deep inhale. Stay for the exhale. See if you can slide that left shoulder blade down your back a little bit. For one more round of breath. And letting that breath go, let's rebend that left leg. Squeeze into your bolster or block as you bring it to center, and then shift your hips over to the other side, to the right, and drop your knees to the left. So now the knees are pointed towards 3 o'clock, the right arm's out to the side. And if you did so on the other side, extending that right leg straight out. Maybe you bend and straighten it a few times, just kind of find your range of motion here. Right arm reaching towards 9 o'clock. You push that right foot into the wall opposite your right hand. And breathe. So I probably don't have to tell you where you're feeling this, but picture that as a little ember or a little coal in the fire, and send your breath there as if you're trying to ignite that fire a little bit, try to spark it up a little bit. So on the very top of the inhale, you should feel that creating a little bit more space, a little bit more spark. Finally, maybe picture a piece of yarn attached to your right index finger and your right big toe, and stretch that piece of yarn in opposite directions. Roll the top hip away from you. For one more inhale here. And one more exhale. Nice. Rebend the knees. Maybe remove that bolster and rolling back onto your back. So find your symmetry once again. Okay. We're going to cross the left ankle on top of the right thigh to thread the needle. And if you'd like to make it a little bit more accessible this morning, you can always elevate your hips with that bolster once again. Sundays, I tend to use, you guys know this, but I tend to use more props and just kind of dial it down the effort and just kind of be able just to enjoy it without as much effort. So I have left ankle on top of the right thigh. I'm going to draw the right knee in towards my right shoulder, and then you can interlace the fingers on the back of that right thigh. Beautiful. And press your left elbow, excuse me, into that left thigh. If that just comes too easily to you, then and you're not feeling a whole lot of that yum, then go ahead, of course, and remove the bolster from the toes. Draw back, rock back and forth, find some length in the neck. Once you've found that first story, that sort of initial why as answering what you're doing in this posture, then you can kind of explore other stuff, right? Excuse me. You can lengthen through the neck, maybe roll on the back of your head, straighten the right leg to the ceiling and rebend it, rock back and forth. Maybe picture your hips as like a dial and spin them clockwise. So the left hip's moving away from you slightly and the right hip's moving, either staying where it is, slightly towards you. One more full inhale here. And one more exhale. Release whatever you're clasping. And we'll take it to the other side here. So right ankle on top of your left thigh. Be sure that that right ankle bone isn't digging into your thigh. You can kind of just go past the thigh. Find your figure four shape here, and then bringing that left knee. Fingers interlace, maybe. And again, that's where the bolster, you can't get a good clasp on the back of the hands or the back of the thigh with the hands, then adding that bolster. And again, explore it. Rock back and forth. Use your right elbow onto that right thigh to send it further away from you. Maybe bend and straighten the left leg a few times. Deep inhales and exhales. Picturing your hips and kind of spinning them counterclockwise a little bit. Again, sort of that right hip moves away as the left hip either stays where it is or draws in slightly. One more inhale here. And one more exhale. Release whatever you're clasping, uncross your ankles, and bicycle. Nice. With both feet grounded and both knees bent, you can keep the bolster or remove it. And once we get going, you can do the same thing. Send that left leg up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers on the back of the left thigh. Bend and straighten the leg or keep it straight. And now go ahead, if you'd like to, and straighten your right leg. The right leg be heavy. You can roll that left ankle around, push the thigh into the hands, Find length through the back of the neck. Some of you guys will stay here. Some of you guys may climb your way up the back of the leg. A little bit more awkward or not as fluid if you're doing the bolster underneath you, but you still can if you want to. Add that body weight. And some of you finally may want to extend your arms out in front of you. Reach forward. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. And then just rewind the tape. Rebend the right leg, land the left foot on the floor, head and shoulders return if they haven't already. Pause here for a moment, and then take it to the other side. Right leg up towards the ceiling. Hands to the back of the thigh. Push the thigh into the hand. Pull the toes back towards you. Slide that left leg to straight. Draw some circles on the ceiling, ankle rolls, accelerate, decelerate, all of those. And then choosing to stay here, climb your way up the back of the leg. Tuck the chin in towards the chest. And if you did so on the other side, arms extend out. Once again, forward for 10, 9, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulse if you'd like to, or lowering yourself back down to the floor. Both legs lower. And then straighten both legs here with or without the bolster underneath you. Just get that. If you have the bolster underneath, you'll get that passive stretch. And if not, just checking it. All good. Okay. Let's remove that bolster if you do have it underneath. Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet touch, knees fall nice and wide, really getting to the inner thigh space as well as to those tendons that attach, those ligaments that attach to your knees here. Right? And you can waggle this back and forth as you keep the soles of the feet standing on one another. Tilt the pelvis to and fro like the bottom of a rocking chair. Spin it back and forth like you're turning a dial. Keep your legs as is and just giving yourself a hug. You decide which arm you want to cross on top of the other, and fingertips either resting on your shoulder blade, the tips of your shoulders, or down towards your shoulder blades, whatever works for you best, whatever feels best. Again, inchworming the crown of the head towards the back of the room. Choose to stay here, or a lot deeper is crisscross applesauce with your legs, crossing one shin in front of the other. And really finding that full range of breath here, the full inhales and the full exhale. Beautiful. And changing the cross of your arms. Bring the other arm on top, the other elbow stacks. Once again, giving yourself that little embrace, that little hug. And if you did cross your shins, change the cross of your shins. Other one in front, another one behind. And again, breathing into this space. Find a full inhale. And the full exhale. You just feel like you've unplugged on the exhale. You're dropping down and towards the floor. One more round of breath, guys. Nice. And releasing that and rebending your knees, maybe windshield wiper, just to kind of get all that out. And find one of your blocks if you would. If you have a block. If you don't have a block, small rolled up blanket. If you don't have anything, that's okay as well. But it's nice to have a block. We're going to place that block in between the thighs and bring the knees to stack on top of the hips. So my feet are off the floor. My knees are stacked on top, and the soles of my feet are pulling down. My hands are down by my hips, either palms facing down, or if you need to support or want to support your low back a little bit more, then grab the outside edges of your yoga mat and stretch your mat. And notice how that seals your back toward the ground. Inhale here, exhale, straighten the legs to the ceiling. Inhale and exhale. And maybe they don't get perfectly straight. That's okay. You're just sending them to the ceiling on an exhale, reloading on the inhale. And try to maintain your feet that sort of blocks distance apart as if you had a second block that you're squeezing in between your feet. So don't let them kind of collapse towards one another because that's taking it unevenly on your knees, and you want to keep that knee extension straight and symmetrical. Right? A few more times. Feel the abdominals engaging, that corseting, that knitting together of your front ribs as you bring the feet to the ceiling. One more round. Nice. And then land your feet on the floor. Keep the block there. Take some bridge lifts, press in your feet and send your hips to the ceiling. And lowering back down. And rise up. And lower. Inhale to lift. Stripe your spine back down. One more time, your lift. And your lower. Nice. And once you've dropped in towards the floor, remove the block and come back to how we started in this little mini Shavasana here. Nothing underneath this. Settle yourself down towards the floor. Nice, guys. We'll get off of our backs, move a little bit before we continue with our day. So either roll to one side or rock your way up, but meet me in tabletop position, hands and knees. And once you're there, reposition your props. Won't be using your bolsters, so you can get those off out of the side, out of the way. But you may want to have your blocks right at the top of your mat. If your knees are sensitive, blanket underneath you. But just coming into this box shape here, find a neutral spine first. And we're going to kind of floss the shoulders here. So take a deep inhale. On the exhale, drop your chest, your heart straight down in between your shoulders. And then on your inhale, push the floor away and send your upper back towards the ceiling with a slight tuck of the chin towards the chin. Exhale, drop your chest down. Again, inhale, push the floor away. Exhale, drop back. A couple more times, just like that. Inhale, push. Exhale, drop. And again, inhale. And exhale. Come back to that neutral, how we started, and just some hip circles here. If you want to lengthen your hands slightly away from your knees, you can. Changing directions whenever that feels about right. And your full inhales and your full exhales. Cows and cats, anything that feels good. Breathe into the space. And then we'll take a child's pose. Knees wide, big toes touch. Send your butt towards your heels. I'm going to give you the option, because some of you guys may have some bolsters, to take a supported child. Be taking that stack of stuff. And I know you've got it all ready there. My friends in here do as well if you'd like to. And you just kind of stack them on top. You bring them on top. Send your butt towards your heels and then bring them to you and turn your head to one side. This allows you to remain here a little bit longer, not as intense openings, but you can kind of just swim in this a little bit longer. If you're on the bolsters, great. Turn your head to the other side. Just be sure that your arms are far enough away that your shoulders aren't shoving up towards your ears. Right? And if you're on your bolsters, return center and moving the props off the side. Beautiful. From here, we'll come back to our tabletop, hands and knees, tuck the toes under, and send the hips up and back or down. Pedal this out, anything that feels good to you. Just be sure you're pressing into your fingertips a lot. Really grounding down through there. Piston this out. Take your head no, nod your head yes. Drop your heel from side to side. Beautiful. We're going to meet in a forward fold at the top of the yoga mat. So lots of little steps to get there. A couple big steps. Bring your feet to hips distance apart. And dropping down and towards the floor. A little bend in your knees. If you want to or prefer to, you can bring your elbows into your thighs for support, or just let your hands drop down. Sway from side to side. Again, shaking your head yes and no. And as you remain in this fold here, just kind of inspect your body. Just run your eyes on the hamstrings, soles of your feet, into your low back. Inspect that space. Running up and down your spine, just find all of that space. Nice, guys. So we'll come out of this easily. Let's use our hands this morning on your shin. Sort of walk your way up your legs as you come up towards standing, one vertebra at a time. So really taking that kind of strain effort out of the body as you rise up. Maybe your arms float up. And we'll come all the way back down to the floor with again or without your hands. Okay, so ensuring that you're at the top of your yoga mat and your feet are hips distance apart. I'm going to use my blocks. I'm going to set them right next to me on the highest setting, right next to my feet. My left foot's going to stay here. I'm going to step this right foot all the way to the back of the mat and come into a lunge. So you may want to keep your hands on your blocks, which is great. You may want to remove your hands and float them back alongside your body. Decide what works for you, but blocks are going to be here, and I'll show you why in a moment. Crown of the head extends forward. We're pushing down and towards the floor. You take a little rotation, just kind of turning your head from side to side just to continue to open up that space. For one more cycle of breath, if your hands were floating, bring them back to the ground of your blocks, and then hop your back foot in about a third of the way and straighten both legs. Drive that right heel in particular down towards the floor. Let's say this posture, this pyramid posture, is only about that back calf, in which case really have it so that the leg is far enough back that when you push the heel towards the floor, you just get it there. Okay? Front leg is straight. That's always going to get a little bit of hamstring, but see if we can get that back leg. And then choose to stay here or bend that right knee and drive the heel back down. Fourth time, just like that. Bend and straight. Let's get deeper into that hamstring space, the back of the knee. For one more inhale, one more exhale. Let's do the other side. So stepping up to the top of the mat, right foot will stay here. Step your left foot back. Have it hips distance apart. And again, feel free to float your arms or keep them on blocks of the ground. Pushing the floor away, deep inhale. Stay for the exhale. Couple more rounds of breath. Return your hands if they were floating. Hop the back foot in a little bit. And again, far enough back that when you really press the heel down as if there's a dot in the middle of your heel, you can push it in towards the floor. The right big toe is grounding towards the floor. Melt out and over, and again, choose to stay here or bend the left knee, piston that left heel back down. Nice. And we'll step up to the top of the mat. Left foot stays here, right foot steps back again. This time, let's drop the right knee to the floor. So send it back far enough that it feels like you stack. This right hip is on top of the right knee. The left knee's on top of the ankle. My shoulder's on top of the hip. took the arms up overhead and hook your thumbs here. Now, if it feels like you're really out of balance, just walk that left foot a little bit over to the left. You'll take your hands from side to side, up over, while the hips stay towards the front of the hip. One more round. Nice. And then back to center and on the floor. A twist from here, and that right hand on the block may be a little higher than you want. So we'll start with that right hand down, and you'll take the left arm up towards the ceiling or bind it, bringing that left hand into your right hip crease here. Feel free to tuck your back toes under and lift that knee off the floor if you'd like to, or stay grounded as well. Just giving yourself that space. Again, think of maybe inchworming, David, that left foot forward just a little bit forward, maybe a little bit to the side. Yeah. So one more inhale here. And one more exhale. Release that. Tuck the back toes under. Lift the knee, and then we're going to finish off this sequence by coming into a side angle pose, so the other side of the hip. So I have the foot down with my toes turned out, but not open, right? So the outside edge of my foot kind of parallel to the back edge of that mat. This is where that block really can come in handy here, as I bend this front knee and then stack my shoulders. Sink into that front leg. There's some effort here, of course. The right hand can stay at the hip. It can reach up and over. It can swim a few times, one direction and the other. If you want to, you can straighten that front leg. If you don't like that, you're going to rebend that front leg. Beautiful. We're going to pivot on the ball of that back foot and drop the knee down. And the last little bit on this sequence is Ardha Hanuman. Walk the left foot forward. Shift your hips back to nice and straight left leg. And again, blocks are always there to go with you. If you're using blocks, they pretty much should never be off your mat. You want them right underneath you as if they're extensions of your hands to the floor. You design the yoga mats pretty much as if you're doing this like if you were a little kid and your bed was like everything else was hot lava or alligators. Same thing with your yoga mat. Right? Everything kind of stays on your mat. Last little adjustment here, if you want to take it, is take that right hand and reach for the outside of that left foot or the left calf. Bringing yourself a little bit closer as you breathe into that right hip space. Beautiful. Let's release that if you took it. Rebend the front knee. Step to the top of your yoga mat, feet hips distance apart. Again, if you start with feet hips distance, you're going to stay kind of in the same lane. So right foot here, left foot steps back. Let's drop that left knee down on the floor. Really get that foot back. Really get that knee down. So I don't want the knee here. I want to have it back. And you can do that also by just inchworming. Come into that Anjane. Hook your thumbs. If balance is an issue, just go for the right foot to the right. Again, taking this from side to side. So these lateral stretches, you should feel similar sensation as we did when we were laying on our backs and crossing the ankles. Those outside seams. Coming back to center and releasing the hand down. We'll come into that twist, and again, that left hand on the floor or the block. Move that right foot to the right. Give yourself that base, and then we'll take that right arm towards the ceiling. So this is a lot of work, just opening up your chest and sending the fingertips towards the ceiling. We've bound this before, bringing that right hand to the outside of the left hip. It allowed us to go a little deeper. Maybe you tuck your back toes under and lifted the left knee away from you. One more inhale here. Exhale and release that twist. Okay. Tuck the back toes under. They're not already there. Lift the left knee off the floor. Then spin on the ball of that foot so that the right heel and left heel are lined up as you open into the side angle. Yeah, the right hand down, hip in and under, sink into that front knee so it stays stacked on top. And maybe the top arm reaches up or swim some circles here. Maybe you straighten that right leg. One more inhale. Exhale. Let's release that. Spin on the ball of the back foot. Drop the back knee down. Walk your right foot forward and shift your hips back. So my left hip is on top of my left knee. You can keep the hands on blocks out in front of you for some low back stretch, or bring the hands underneath you. And if you did so on the other side, consider that left hand reaching to the outside of the right foot or the right shin and drawing yourself a little bit. One more inhale. One more exhale. Let's rebend that front knee. Move your blocks off to the side, out of the way, and step your way back to a plank, top of a push-up. You'll step yourself straight back, and with the shoulders stacked on top, you can have your knees grounded, or with toes tucked under, full plank position. Just holding here for 3, for 2, for 1. We'll lower ourselves down. Do some back strengthening here. So with hands right alongside your bottom ribs, lift your chest away from the floor. Your elbows stack like grasshopper leg on top of the elbow, on top of the wrists. Tops of the feet press and firm your thighs, and your kneecaps end up lifting off the floor. And then pop up onto your fingertips and take your hands a little bit wider apart and drop from side to side. One side of the face comes down on the exhale. Lift and turn your head and drop the other side. Back to center. And a few more times just like that. Beautiful. So return to center with your forehead touching the floor. Okay. Lift your head and chest away from the floor, and then get lighter on your fingertips, and lighter maybe to the point where your hands hover off the floor, but don't push your belly down. Pull your belly button towards the ceiling. Stay here or bring your hands back alongside your body. If that's a lot more than you want, you can always return your hands to the floor. Stay here or pulling your shoulder blades onto your back, drag your toes up the back wall. You're pressing right into your pubic bone there, not into your belly. Holding here for 3 with straight legs. Holding here for 2, asking your hamstrings to help. And 1, drop to the floor, turn your head to one side. And we're going to return to that sequence one more time. So coming back to center, we start in our cobra. Lift your head and chest away from the floor. Pop up onto your fingertips. And again, you can stay here and just get lighter on your fingertips. Or once again, you have a slight tuck of the chin. You're looking way out in front of you. Okay? You can lift your hands. Maybe they extend back, taking you more towards that full locust pose. Drag your toes up the wall. Maybe lift a little bit higher here for 3, for 2, for 1. Lower down, turn your head to the other side. Shake out the hips. Full deep inhale. And full exhale. We'll bring our hands alongside our bottom ribs, push the floor away, tuck the toes under, and send your hips up and back for downward facing dog. And then just a couple times before we start to dial this back down, I'd like you to roll through into your plank, lower yourself to the floor, untuck your toes and find your cobra. Use your belly muscles to take it back to down dog. Do that once or twice more, using your breath, lowering down, pulling your heart through. And maybe this time or after the next time, meet in child's pose. Knees wide, big toes touch, drop your butt towards the floor. Full inhale and full exhale. Nice. So you're going to make your way onto your backs, however you want. Take your time onto your backs, how we started class. Comfortable position. If you wanted to play with boat and low boat on the way down, you can do that if you're already on your back. Great. So once again, you can do this with or without that flat bolster underneath you. Starting on the right side, let's take a half happy baby here. So the left foot or left knee, I like to start bent, left foot grounded. I'm going to bring that right knee in and reach up. You can either grab the shin, the ankle, if you can get to the inside edge of the foot, the outside, or peace fingers on the big toe and draw down. Choose to stay here or reopen or re-extend that left leg. Another full inhale. Stay for the exhale. One more round of breath. And then release whatever you're clasping, and we'll take it to the other side. So starting with both knees bent, once again, the right foot stays grounded and right knee bent. Pull that left knee in and clasp wherever this side works for you. Extend the right leg if you'd like to. And again, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight or completely bent. It could be somewhere in between. One more inhale here. And one more exhale. Release whatever you're clasping, land your foot on the floor, remove that bolster if you had it underneath you. Bridge pose or a supported bridge pose, or a little bit of both here. Both feet grounded, press into the floor and send your hips towards the ceiling. If you'd like to, you can grab a block. Place that block underneath you. Round your hips and float your feet. Be on the middle setting or the low setting, whatever works for you. Get to that point where the feet just kind of float without effort. So if they're too far forward, you're going to tip over. And if they're too far back, they're going to tip over. But a little Goldilocks, you find where they're just right. Nice, guys. Let's land the feet if you did lift them. Land the hips if you didn't. Remove that block from underneath you and just move your hips over to the right a little bit. You're going to extend the left leg away from you, and a supine twist. The right hand's going to take that right knee and bring it across your body as you spill over onto your left hip. Using that left hand, so right arm extends. There you go. That left hand just guides the knee across your body. Of course, if you wanted to take a deeper twist, you could do that. We'll come back to center. Take it to the other side. So bump your hips a little to the left. Straighten your right leg away from you. Your left hand takes the left knee, starts to bring it across the body, and then the right hand finishes the job. Left arm extended towards 3 o'clock. Slide the shoulder blade down your back and breathe. One more inhale. And stay for the exhale. One more cycle of breath. Exhale, let all of that go back onto your backs. And then any finishing pose that feels good to you, if that's a hug of the knees in towards the chest. full happy baby, or maybe just releasing yourself down towards the floor. So some of you guys have those bolsters. If you want to place them underneath your knees, on top of you, just drop down and towards the ground. Just here for a minute or so to receive this practice before moving on the rest of your day. If you're not using certain props, just be sure they're out of your way, okay? As you drop towards the ground. Bring a little bit of awareness back to the body. Wiggling the fingers, the toes, the wrists, and the ankles. If it feels right, reach your arms overhead behind you and stretch from tip to tip. Get nice and long to point to the toes and drive to the heel. And however it serves you best, make your way up towards a seated position that feels good. Sitting tall once you arrive. This gesture of gratitude, bring hands to heart center, seal in your practice. Thanking yourselves for showing up on your yoga mats, your fellow awesome yogis, for sharing this space. I thank you guys for coming out as well. We'll finish with an Om. So one of the people often ask, what's the purpose of the Om? It serves a lot of purposes. One of the things, if you are going to take that Om, is to feel the vibration of that sound inside of you and then emanating, and then there's people around you, you might feel it as well. The other thing is to watch the shape of your mouth take all the letters, the shape of that owl, right? And as you change that and seal that, it changes that vibration, right? So you kind of feel that vibration and down yourself if you want to take a deep inhale here. Oh. Light and life in me honors and recognizes light and life in you. Namaste. Thanks for joining. Wonderful having you guys here. Larissa and David and Lonnie and Wendy for keeping me company, and Anna and Susan and Jen. I'm trying to read all the names. And Robin, thanks for joining me out there, guys. Hearts, hooray! Thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your Sunday. It's like 9:30 and like boom, got the whole day. Yoga's done, off, ticked it off. You did it, right? See you guys later. Have a good one.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you always.